Hey, what's going on everybody? I'm Jason Fury from Neverending Radical Dude. Today I've got my comic book pile from May 2017 with me. This is every single comic book I read in the month of May, and if you go to the website you'll see my top 5 comic book picks for May 2017, and it's coming from this list. Let's get started with X-Men books. Finally, a lot of my pile is X-Men again. These are all X books. And we're going to start with X-Men Blue, which is the time-displaced X-Men. So it's Young Jean, Cyclops, Iceman, Angel, and Beast. And I gotta say, while I'm not a fan of this new crew of these teenage X-Men, I miss my original Cyclops, Jean, Wolverine, Professor X, all them, I will say this book is pretty great. And it does capture the spirit of the X-Men. And the past few years have been really rough for the X-Men, so I'm really happy to be reading these books again. So X-Men Blue number 3 and 4 just came out. Never too late. Jean Grey. This was a pleasant surprise. Jean Grey number 1 and 2. These are some of the best comics I've read in a long time. Not just Marvel or X-Men, but they're just great stories, great characters. This new Jean Grey, or this old, young, new Jean Grey, whatever you want to call it, is one of the most dynamic, interesting characters right now in Marvel Comics. So check out Jean Grey. It's not too late. And while you're at it, check out X-Men Blue. They're kind of companion pieces to one another. They kind of run parallel. X-Men Gold is the other big X book. It's okay. Gambit's back. That's pretty cool. I like it. It's Kitty Pryde's the leader. X-Men Gold's I can't recommend it as much as Jean Grey and X-Men Blue, but if you want more X-Men, it's probably your third best choice. Cable, my man, is back in a new ongoing. Thanks to Deadpool 2, Josh Brolin got cast as Cable, of course. So I think we're going to be getting a lot of Cable love. And if you don't know this, he's Cyclops' son from a distant future. So now we have a really old Cable and a really young Cyclops. So it's pretty weird, but they don't really cross paths in this book. Cable's just popping all over time, but it was a fun read. Old Man Logan. So this is the Lemire run, and it concluded with issue number 24. So 23 and 24 came out this month, and it was really fun. It was a cool run. It will continue with Old Man Logan number 25, which should be on shelves by the time you watch this. But this run was great. I loved it. It was pretty cool. And we've got some Secret Empire going on. This is the new Marvel miniseries based on Captain America, and he's working for Hydra. He's a Hydra agent, and this story is going to flesh it out, but it's a big, mega Marvel event. We're going to see all kinds of Marvel characters. We got Secret Wars Empire from Free Comic Book Day, which was in May, Secret Empire 1, Secret Empire 2, Secret Empire 3. They're really dense books, a lot going on, and it's been pretty interesting. I can't really fully recommend it, but if you're hungry for a big Marvel epic event, I think this is where you want to go. Jason Aaron's Thor, always amazing. They're dealing with the Phoenix Force right now, and it's been simply amazing. A lot of big things are happening in this book right now. This is Thor number 19, so be sure to jump on Thor by Jason Aaron. He's just killer. He's one of my favorite writers right now. Spider-Gwen, number 19 and 20. This has been cool. There is a new Claude hero running around the streets, or anti-hero, or whatever you want to call it, and they're doing some fun stuff. It's a parallel universe to the main Marvel universe, so you can read Spider-Gwen just kind of for fun. It doesn't really affect the main world. Sometimes she jumps in, but it's not the end of the world if you just read Spider-Gwen. Of course, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 came out, so we're going to get a ton. And there are, on the comic shelves, there's so many Guardians of the Galaxy books right now. So I decided to just stick with one. It's just called All New Guardians of the Galaxy. We got a debut issue with Free Comic Book Day, number 1 and number 2. And they're really fun. You know, I might keep up with these. So far, they're really cool. Guardians of the Galaxy is always a fun comic, especially for sci-fi fans. Moving on to Marvel Star Wars books. So they're doing a big crossover event called the Screaming Citadel, and it's weird because it's kind of like I don't know, it's just kind of like a dark and moody and kind of very Lovecraftian story set in a dark corner of the Star Wars universe. And you know, on paper that doesn't sound that cool. Maybe it does, but it's actually working really well. And we have a one-shot just called the Screaming Citadel number 1. There won't be a number 2 of that. it continues in Jason Aaron's Star Wars and the new ongoing Dr. Aphra books. So we have Screaming Citadel 1. You're going to want to read Star Wars number 31 next, Dr. Aphra number 7 after that, and I think it's maybe 5 or 6 issues long. And then we got the Poe Dameron ongoing, which has been pretty solid. It's just a great book if you want to revisit the Force Awakens timeline, just before it. It's been a really strong book. Moving on to DC. It's getting a little less. The DC Rebirth stuff has been amazing. I just don't have enough time to read it all, so I've kind of narrowed it down at this point to really just kind of mainly Superman, Batman. So I got Superman number 22, 23. It's a pretty good story. A lot of this has to do with Superman and his kid. Batman 23 is cool. Swamp Thing shows up. All-Star Batman number 10. This is Scott Snyder's continuing Batman stories, and they're pretty lackluster. They're not that good. I hate to say it because Snyder's written some great Batman books, but lately they're not that good. And it just got announced that this book, All-Star Batman, is going to be ending with issue 14, I believe. So that's going to be a wrap, and I'm fine with that. The conclusion to Frank Miller's Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, landed. So this is issue 9. It's a very chunky, meaty issue. That's over. It's been pretty great. It's been pretty interesting. So that concludes that. So look out for a trade soon. Some other DC books I'm reading regularly are Trinity and Red Hood and the Outlaws. Trinity number 9. It's Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. And Red Hood and the Outlaws, starring Red Hood, which is Jason Todd, who was a Robin. Then Joker killed him. And then he came back, I think, in the Lazarus Pit. And now he's just a dual-wielding handgun vigilante that's sometimes good, sometimes bad, but probably always good and loyal to Batman. But it's a fun book. Cool book. We got a pretty heart-wrenching issue of The Walking Dead with issue number 167. And, I liked the issue. It was powerful. It was good. My only complaint is this very long-winded letter at the end from the writer saying, "I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah." Like, come on. Give me a break. Like, you're supposed to be shameless and you're supposed to love and kill your characters just, and just throw it at us. I don't want a big apology, like, sorry letter at the end of a comic book. Stupid. Saga is back with a new arc. So if you've been buying the trade collections like I have, there's 7 volumes out, and this is issue 43, and it's only a quarter, and it takes place right after volume 7. So if you wanted to jump into Saga and start reading this issue to issue instead of collection to collection, get this issue. It's only a quarter, and the story's great. The second arc of Monstrous is over. This has been a wonderful story. I'm going to keep buying these and buy the collections as they come out. Monstrous, if you haven't read it, read it. Volume 5 of Lazarus. This is Greg Rucka's awesome kind of post-apocalyptic, kind of weird sci-fi take universe. And it's a really fun book. And I would highly recommend Lazarus. This is Volume 5, and it was really solid. It's always solid. It's like a passion project from Rucka, I think. And last but not least, we got some Dark Horse offerings. We've got Aliens, Dead Orbit. This is just a 4-part miniseries, but it has been epic. I love it. And saving the best for last, the Shaolin Cowboy. So this won't make my picks this month because I put it in last time. But, the Shaolin Cowboy is just the coolest stuff in the world. Artist Jeff Darrow is hands down my favorite artist in the comic book world right now. And I cannot see anybody doing better than this man. I swim. It takes me like an hour to read an issue of this because I just swim in his panels and his art. So once again, if you ever see Jeff Darrow's name on anything, especially the Shaolin Cowboy, give it a read. You will thank me later. And that, my friends, is my comic book pile for May 2017. Be sure to head over to the site now and see what my top 5 picks were. And we'll see you next month with June's comic book pile. Peace!